I was trying to beat a case, but I ain't beat that case. I did the race. You hear me? Hey, man. Y'all might want to watch this whole video so we can find out if Tay K ruined his life or not, man. The young Tay K, man. Let's go.
Today is the happiest day in hip-hop history because the saga that is the spawn of Satan Tay K is finally over, bro. They overcooked them like some ramen, bro. I wasn't surprised for one. I mean, look at him. Look at him, bro. You can't tell me you've ever seen this archetype do anything productive. And I'm not talking about color. I'm talking about the archetype. He looks like he's an evil villain in a Nickelodeon movie, bro. He's the kid in the Nickelodeon movie that provoke reactions like, God darn you little twerp.
No. Y'all know who he look like? Is it Toy Story? The little bad kid, they be shaking the toys. Is that who I'm thinking? I'm thinking of one of them badass kids in the cartoon. That, if I'm right, comment down below. I think that's who it is, though, in Toy Story, the little badass kid. That's who he look like.
Yeah.
Free Tay K.
But he was far from a little twerp or anything innocent. He was originally arrested for 2 homicides.
17-year-old Tamar McIntyre has been arrested in New Jersey by the U.S. Marshal Service. He's being held there pending his extradition back here to Texas. McIntyre, who's from Arlington, is suspected in a capital murder case and had been described as a violent fugitive. He's been the subject of a nationwide manhunt. New at 6, video of teen rapper Tay K as police question him about his role in a deadly home invasion in Mansfield. The video was shown to the jury this afternoon in Tamar McIntyre's capital murder trial. Jason Allen is live inside the Tim Curry Criminal Justice Center in Fort Worth with the details. Jason?
And Gilma, the doors of the court are just cracking open here behind me. It looks like they have just finished up for the evening. The jury today, not only in that video, heard Tamar McIntyre admit to being part of this crime when it happened. They also heard from a man who was shot that night and survived.
This video from almost 3 years ago shows a 16-year-old Tamar McIntyre in a small room with police, uncomfortable, wiping his eyes at times, and finally admitting to investigators he played a role in a home invasion and murder in Mansfield.
This dude is just deplorable on all levels. He went out completely sad. To regular people, he's deplorable because he's a murderer. And to the street dudes, he's deplorable because he's a rat. He told.
You done said deplorable 3 times. I don't know what that means.
I was just a kid, officer. I was just a part of the home invasion that led to a murder. I don't know what I was doing. I was scared. And then he told on everybody involved. And then
he ain't tell on everybody involved.
You aren't just a kid involved in this. You aren't just some type of innocent dude. No, because we got you on camera committing another homicide. This time you were the shooter.
He was excited. His passion was photography. His passion was taking photographs and wanted to make that his career. He was young. He was just 20 years old. Tamar McIntyre was almost 17 years old. He was an up-and-coming rapper that contacted Mark about this photo shoot.
16. You can tell in his face he bad as hell.
And when Tamar came over to pick up Mark from his house, at his mother's house, Mark went outside with his backpack and his camera. Very definable white type camera.
I don't think I ever heard this story before.
Ran off to this car down the street, a black Kia. Little did he know he was getting into that car, and then we'd be falling off that car later on, shot by this individual that's sitting right over there.
They had ballistics, they had surveillance, they had 4K surveillance. The girlfriend who was there with Tay K, she testified. Overcooked, guilty. And eventually he was found guilty. But it's the post-conviction antics that's tickling my fancy, all right? These people are literally insane.
Tickling my fancy? Come on, Flacco. I'm just trying to react to the video. He tickling my fancy? Where is you coming up with deplorable tickling? That's 2 strikes. One more, we got to... Next video we got to react to, gang. Come on, Flacco. Let's get it together, man.
So, first off, at the guilty verdict, right? His family initially thought that he got off scotch-free, and they began to make noise thanking Jesus in the court of law before hearing out the full judgment.
All right, it's the court's understanding from the deputy that a verdict has been reached in this case. This is what I'm going to tell all the parties who are present in this courtroom. There's not to be any outbursts. If there's an outburst, what's going to end up happening is a deputy is going to tap you on the shoulder. There's no need to get into a conversation with the deputy. That tap on the shoulder is meaning that you are to leave this courtroom, and you will only be allowed back in this courtroom if you're going to be a witness. Does everyone understand?
Yes, sir.
Is there anyone who cannot do that? So, both parties for the state and the defense, if you need to talk to members who are currently in court that are either with the state or defense, you may do so now. Otherwise, I'm going to bring the jury in.
Just like at graduations.
Everyone knows to be on their best behavior, Your Honor.
All right, let's bring the jurors in.
All right, for the jury.
Let's reach the verdict. Come on, man. Free our boy, man. Free our boy. He learned his lesson. And don't come for me in the comments.
Please be seated.
Do you seriously want them to free a murderer, killed 2 people?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's my understanding that you've reached a verdict in this case. Is that correct?
Yes.
And is that verdict unanimous?
Yes.
All right, if you will give the verdict form to Deputy Laura, please.
Unanimous decision.
Thank you.
And they said capital murder too. I'm talking about down the line, man.
All right, if the defendant could please stand. We, the jury, find the defendant, Tamar McIntyre, not guilty of the offense of capital murder. What did I, excuse me, no. No.
Little do they know, they finna read off 10 other things that say guilty, 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 guilty. Golly, Jesus Christ. It's like they don't even want to play the rest because you know what you finna hear, man. Like, come on.
Courtroom. Out of the courtroom now.
Yes.
Put them out.
All right.
That was Tay K's family making that noise and that hoopla. They thought for a second that God's favor was shining upon this spawn of Satan, when that's the furthest thing from the truth. They were celebrating too early. Now, I don't know if nobody told them, but there's actually 2 charges, capital murder and regular murder. So capital murder has a lot of aggravating factors. You can look it up. Murder is clear cut, okay? So Tay K gets found not guilty of capital murder, which means he's not going to get the death penalty, which is... I mean, to be honest, I think that's like an easy let out, bro. I want somebody to spend 100 years in jail. I don't want them to take the easy way out. So he eventually gets found guilty of actual murder because he did it. It's in 4K. There's no doubt that Tay K did this. And the fact that his family is celebrating...
Oh, you ain't seen no video,
Yeah, that's your family, cool. But you have to love people to an extent. You have to love people to a degree. Knowing this person did this and still celebrating, thinking he got off, to me is just insane. And this is the madness that permeates through our communities that creates villains like Tay K.
Sometimes, as you can tell, people are invested, correct? So it says, we the jury find the defendant, Tamar McIntyre, not guilty of the offense of capital murder as charged in the indictment. We, the jury, find the defendant, Tamar McIntyre, guilty of the lesser included offense of murder. Does anyone wish to have the jury polled?
Not the state, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. And do you want them polled as to both counts?
As to the count of conviction, Your Honor.
All right, you may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to...
Damn, man. Game. At 17 years old, you locked up for murder. Done threw your whole life away. And his career was just getting started. Dude was one of the hardest ones out, bro. Hardest ones out. Come on, man. He had a long career, man. He was, if he was free right now, he would have been one of the top ones right now. If he stayed out of trouble, he would have been in my top. He was just different, man. Y'all take it.
Let's look at the face of Tay K here. And if you are not watching the video, you're watching the audio, I will break it down for you, bro. This is the face of where bad decisions get you. He's sulking. He's staring into space, looking expressionless. Face is blank. He understands he done messed up his life. I can't even begin to imagine sitting in a court of law knowing that I'm never coming home. Knowing that I'm essentially going to die in a jail cell, going to die in a prison.
Just crazy.
And the funny thing about this too, bro, is I'm going to die in a prison knowing I have millions waiting home for me when I come home. Knowing I have millions of dollars, I have fame and fortunes, I have the baddest women in the world
there so long, that money
waiting for me to crack
out
when I come home. But instead, I'm going to be around a bunch of sweaty men all my life because I decided I wanted to be a goon.
See, that's the thing. That's why I can't never go, okay? Right there, what he just said. 24 hours, you gotta be around men. Nothing but men. No woman around. Maybe a guard. But for 99% of the time, men. Man, I would not survive just off that fact right there. You know how... No, man. Hell no.
Oh, bruh. The second phase of this trial that she's referring to is the sentencing. Now, the sentencing to me is even more hilarious, okay? So his sister decided that she was going to testify on his behalf to get him the lesser sentence. So she took the stand, and their reasoning for why Tay K came out being a deplorable spawn of Satan that we know him to be, their reasoning to me is hilarious and is laughable.
His punishments were too big for, like, the thing, like if we got bad grades, then we would be punished like he would. It started off by maybe the whoopings got worse and worser, and then now it's not a belt. Now it's a 2x4, and we get a certain number of hits, and we get hit with it, and we have to lay there and we can't get up. And it was times when Tamar was younger than me, so Tamar was younger than me, and he would cry, and just maybe they would think he was over dramatic.
I almost cried, gang. Hold on, almost cried. I ain't got no bottle of water around me. Somebody throw water through the screen. Hold on, I almost cried. Hold on, damn. Boy, I would have been up there saying any and everything. I would have gave the most saddest story in the world. Man, it's a sad moment right now, especially if you're a Tay K fan, bro. That whole era was just crazy. And we ain't no shit, we thought he was just rapping. That nigga really living that shit at 16, 17 years old.
So they would tie him down to an ironing board.
Damn.
Strap him down. Like stuff like that.
Said he got iron.
We don't care. Now, I do want to clarify that we don't care. We don't care in regards to Tay K. In regards to the other siblings, it's unfortunate they shouldn't have to go through that. But in regards to Tay K, we don't care. And this is not a good excuse for him to get off scot-free, right? Or to get some type of slap on their wrist. Bruh, there are kids who grew up with hard parents all the time. Parents who are disciplinarians all the time. There are kids who get brutal beatings all the time. Those kids don't turn to a 2-time convicted murderer, right? Those kids don't take out their anger on people who did nothing to them. Now, I understand Tay K being involved in a beef and engaging in a beef with his enemies and enacting revenge on enemies, cool. But all of Tay K crimes involve people who did nothing to him. Who only crimes against Tay K was they existed. Tay K beat up an old man in the park. He ain't do nothing to him. Tay K murdered a photographer. ain't do nothing to him. Tay K did a home evasion, set somebody up. They passed away. Ain't do nothing to him. So no, getting whoopings as a kid or having
young misguided kids, man.
That's not a good excuse, bruh, at all. He deserves to die in prison.
And you said that these were examples of over-disciplining you both for things in the house?
Maybe bad grades. Maybe just bad grades and stuff like that. We weren't bad kids to be doing going and doing anything we didn't have any business. We were too young, and we moved around a lot to know what's going on in our outside world. We were just learning. So it would be stuff like bad grades and stuff like.
Were there ever any signs that you were being hurt this way? Things that other people would notice?
Yes.
Give me some examples.
Bruises, busted lips.
I must have everything.
Noses. People have witnessed before.
Crutches.
Did any of these things ever come to the attention of your teachers or other adults outside your house?
Tamar's teacher noticed.
Okay. What happened when she noticed?
I wasn't there the exact moment. A certain teacher took maybe noticed Tamar and built a relationship with him. And one day he had some type of bruising or something on his face. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was a black eye or what, but the teacher ended up asking him, and he ended up being honest with her. And the school intervened, and they called our dad and our stepmom. Our stepmom came to the school, and they ended up talking to us, saying that we can't have any contact with our dad, and they just released us to her the same day.
Okay, but she was living in the same house as your dad, or
yes.
No? All that hooting and hollering and no accountability and pity stories didn't work with that judge. Right? Now, I don't know if they thought because the judge was a black woman that bringing up his black sister and having her give a pity story was going to not hold him accountable. It didn't work not one bit, bro. That judge looked Tay K in his eyes, pulled out her gavel, bro, and she said 80 years. She said 80 years.
Damn, is that how long he got?
It's over with, man. 80 years. Right? That's your natural life, bro. God, you ain't never coming out.
Mr. McIntyre, I want you to know that I listened to all of the evidence and punishment. And thought about whether or not your sentence should be stacked. I don't know where your mom is, don't know where your father is. I know that you had a rough childhood. And I do know that these offenses occurred when you were very young. And I understand the state of the law, what people consider an adult. I listened to the testimony of the expert that was brought by defense counsel. You've already been sentenced to murder in the other county, and then you have a murder here. And the sentence for 55 years, that's a stiff sentence. This 80-year sentence is a stiff sentence. And these are cases where you have to serve half your time, and that's day for day time, and I recognize that. Hopefully you will grow, but based upon his age, based upon the number of years that he has received out of Tarrant County, and the number of years that he's received here, based upon his history and the lack of any type of good parenting. From what I can tell, his mother wasn't a good parent to him. His father wasn't a good parent to him. Child Protective Services was not good. And if you believe the testimony, I don't know why Child Protective Services would place children back with a father who put the children's mother in the hospital. Is there something else that needs to be done with our society? Yes. Is more money need for Child Protective Services and their workers? Yes.
Go light on,
I do realize that while this is a lot of time, and I tell people all the time, any time that you do in custody is a lot of time. But by that same token, You're still alive. And what the state has said is true. You're still alive. You can still better yourself. If you end up in prison for the rest of your life, you're still alive. You still can improve yourself. Your family can still visit you. But the complainant in this case is deceased. And you need to internalize that the complainant in this case is deceased. And that his family is never going to see him again. So you're going to have to...
See, that's the thing with kids that they don't understand. These teenagers, when they out here doing shit, man, trying to be the hardest person alive, hardest person in the world, they don't understand that one important thing. You get one life. And they be out here playing with it. Playing with it. You get one life, man. It ain't no room for getting in trouble and keep giving your freedom away to the jail. You get one life, man. That's it. That's all.
Changes. And you're going to have to remove people from your life who are not of benefit in the means of making you a better person. And I do understand that sometimes people will go to prison. They join gangs because you need protection, because you're there by yourself. You're young, but you're going to have to make better choices. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm going to sentence him to 80 years in the prison, give him credit for any time served. There is a $0 fine. This will run concurrent with 1511547D.
And that's it. That's the end of the story of Tay K. Once had an opportunity to be a...
Damn, man. A big ass opportunity wasted, man. Young kid throwing his life away, gang. Young kid throwing his life away at 17, man. Out here just terrorizing innocent people on the street, not knowing the real consequences. You feel me? Shit like that, man. But hey, and I hope him the best, man. And I hope I don't know, I hope he can change as a person in there. Somewhere down the line, they do another trial and it could be reduced to some, you feel me, as he get older and learn a little bit more about life. Shit like that. But yeah, man, sad case, man. I was a real big Tay K fan. It's sad to hear this. But y'all comment down below what y'all think about the situation, man. I don't know. 80 years, though. It's crazy, man. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at AreachTK, man. You feel me? Link down below. I'm going to see y'all in the next one. 10K gang. Let's get it.